Hi everybody. It's not quite 6 o'clock, but I'm just setting up. So I think it's going live. I just need to make sure that I can see comments. So let's have a look. Oh, I think it's going live. I just move my paper around a little bit. It's a bit jiggly. There we go. Okay. Hi Rosemary. Oh, thank you for letting me know that you can see it. Hi Janet, how are you? Yay! Look at that, not a single problem. It went straight onto Facebook. My phone worked straight away, so it's gonna be a good night. Hi Laurie, hiya. 2 nights in a row stamping, Laurie. Okay. So while we just wait for a few more people, oh good, I'm glad everything's okay, Janet. I just want to show you a couple of things in the Celebration catalogue that have sold out. This actually finishes on Thursday, the 30th of September, but the mini catalogue doesn't. I had a question this morning to see if the mini catalogue and the Celebration finished. But the mini catalogue goes through December as long as stocks are still available. Some things will sell out, but Celebration definitely ends on Thursday. And this dazzling paper is sold out, and I know that the sheep dies are sold out. Let me just find them for you. So the dies for the sheep are sold out as well. So, oh. Does your husband go on the road a lot, Laurie? Does he work and sort of have to travel a lot? Okay, so I know those two things are sold out. And then we had confirmation this afternoon that one of the Christmas kits is sold out. So this little whimsy kit that's advertised in the July to December. I always call it the holiday catalogue or the mini catalogue. But we know that's sold out today. And this one, which I think it might be all tags. I can only see tags here. But of course you could make those into Christmas cards as well. This one goes on sale in October. I seem to think it's the second week in October. But I don't know where I've got that from. I don't know where I've read that. So this will go on sale in October. And I know, Laurie, I like your thinking. More work for him, more travel time, but more time for you for crafting. Yeah. Sorry, I've forgotten what I was saying then. It was something about this. Oh yeah. So this, I think it's the second week in October. And the only other Christmas kits that are available at the moment will be this month's Paper Pumpkin. And I know that's Christmas cards, and I know it goes with the little cabin set. It matches with that. You don't have to have the cabin set, but I know that it does match that. I just can't remember what that cabin set's called either. Let me just look. I know I've got the paper for it. I don't have the stamps. It's this one, Peaceful Place. I wanted to call it Peaceful Cabin, and I know that's only the stamps. But the whole suite is called Peaceful Place. And it's going to somehow coordinate with these pieces. But we don't know how, that's a mystery. So, but they're the only other kits at the moment that we've got. Okay, let's show you what we're going to do today. I was inspired by this card. This is the card that I got at the beginning of the year. It was sent to me by my friend Tamara in Edmonton. And I think she'd made it with Diane Inkster, who is also in our Silver Sisters group. And I think Diane had showed it on her site, and Tamara had joined in and made one as well. And it's called Herringbone, or that's what I call it. I don't know what anybody else really calls it, but you can see it's small strips of paper that cover sort of the front of the card, and you can just see in between the colour of the card on the back. Now I'm going to make something like this. I usually make mine a little bit differently. This is one of mine that I'd made a long time ago, and you can tell by the type of paper that I made it a while ago. And I use 1/2 inch strips because I like having lots of the little strips, but these ones I'm thinking must be 3/4 of an inch that Tamara used. And this is from the art gallery set. So that's the art gallery paper, and I know that stamp, the image is from art gallery. This was from Celebration, I think, not this current Celebration, the one before. So that inspired me to make this, and I'm going to make it slightly simpler than this, but I do have another card like it that is going to go on my YouTube tomorrow. I've actually made it today, so I will give you a quick peep. This is the free Celebration paper, and just the paper is advertised as black and white, but it has grey tones in. So this is the one that I'm making for my YouTube tomorrow, and it's more like this. But tonight we're just going to make a bigger front to the card. So let me just pop that over to one side. And what I've done is I've used the pansy paper. Now, I haven't used an awful lot of this pansy paper. I think the only card I've done on Facebook was when we made these little gift voucher cards where you could pop a card in, and you could pop a little gift card in as well. So I think that's the only one I've made on Facebook. But I have been using it in other cards. So I do have lots of little pieces. And all I did was I took these kind of pieces and I cut them into 1/2 inch strips. Now I've got all different sizes, and that's great. You need some bigger ones, some tiny bits. So don't think any piece is too small. You know, even if you were going to cut a 1/2 inch strip off this, that would work great as well. Okay, so I am using just my pansy paper. I'll put that on one side because I've cut what I needed, or I've rescued scraps that I needed as well. And I've got lots of them. So some are still a bit wider than I need because I don't know if I need any more. So I've left some pieces, but I do have a collection on my desk. And you can see even little pieces. So I'm going to move that just over to the side a little bit. And I'm going to get my silicone mat out because I'm going to be using the wet glue, and the pieces are going to overhang the card base. And if you have them overhanging and they're sticking on paper or on your table, you end up with lots of bits of glue. So I'm just going to make mine on my silicone mat. And I've got quite a few basic white card bases here. Some of the thick card, and then I've got a piece that's in the thin. So my base card is going to be basic white, and you just cut it either at 4 1/4 by 11 and score at 5 1/2, or you have it at 8 1/2 by 5 1/2 and score at 4 1/4. It's just half a piece, whether you cut it long ways or you cut it sort of across. Okay, but I don't know which one I'm going to use yet. But I do know that the piece I'm going to do my herringbone pattern on is Evening Evergreen. And I've cut this to 3 3/4 by 5. Now I like to have a base. Let me show you on the ones that I'm making for tomorrow. I like to have a base layer that's the same as the colour card that you can see in between these little strips. And you'll see on Tamara's, she hasn't got an extra layer. She's done the whole of the base, the whole of this layer in the paper. She hasn't got another layer behind it. But I like to put a little layer behind it because I just like the way that it's set off. So it, you know, it just gives that little extra that I like. So my piece that I'm going to stick on is 1/2 inch smaller than the front of my card. but I will be putting it on exactly the same colour on here, so that when it's all cut and trimmed, it looks like I have a nice little edge all the way around. Okay, so I'm just going to move my computer a little bit so I can see messages. I just pushed it with the designer series paper, and then I couldn't see messages. Okay, so we're going to start with this, and I've got my liquid glue, and it can be a bit messy, but that's okay. I'm going to choose just one piece. I'm not going to choose that one, I'm going to choose a different one. Let's have a look. I'm going to choose this stripy piece. I'm going to pop it over my card like this. Now, it's a little bit difficult to see on this piece because it's the same colour as the background. So for the first piece, it might be a bit tricky. So let's choose a different one. So just so that you can see it better. And we need to make sure that it overhangs at the top and at the side. If you have it like this, no, you're not going to get the coverage that you need. So I'm going to put it like this. I'm just going to tear a bit off. And I'm going to put it against that right hand side. Hi Jane, how are you? Nice to see you tonight. You haven't missed anything, just me gabbling on. So, and we're going to make herringbone pattern cards. And I'll just show you, this was my inspiration. This was a card from my friend Tamara. Oh, don't ever apologise for chatting with granddaughters. So I'm going to make it slightly different. I'm making the little strips only 1/2 inch wide. This is a card that I've made before, so you can see how thick these are or how wide they are. And then these are the cards that are going to be on my YouTube tomorrow. Okay, so I'm giving you a sneaky peek at these, and we're just starting. I've got a piece of Evening Evergreen, 3 3/4. Yeah, I love herringbone too. It's great for using up all your little bits and pieces. So it's 3 3/4 by 5, and I've got one piece of my pansy petal paper ready. I'm just gonna stick it across like this. So now you can see why the silicone mat is a great addition, because the glue is going to be on the mat and not on my paper. It will be on my fingers. I do get very sticky making these. Okay. And then all you do is you choose little pieces that you would like to have next to each other, and you leave a little gap between. It's probably only about 1/8 of an inch, just enough that you can see the card underneath. Okay? And there's lots of different ways of putting this pattern down. You can see on this card it goes almost like parquet flooring, so it just matches all the way down. I tend to do a few bits this way and then some going this way and some going that way, just because I like the different shapes. But if you wanted to do it like proper herringbone, then it has to look like this. Okay. And they've cut smaller pieces. I just find it easier to do it this way. I think it works out really well. Let's have a little look. Let's pop one of these on. And you do end up with the little corners needing pieces. And that's fine. We'll just stick little bits on later on. Oops. Don't worry about that glue because it dries clear. Okay, so I've got 3 going this way. Now I'm going to do a few that go sort of from right to left. And I'm just going to choose a few different patterns. I know I don't need those as long as this, so, but I do need to have that edge cut off. So, yeah, Laurie, it's really good for masculine cards too. And I've made a few of these for masculine cards. When we had that seaside themed, that went with the high tide and like the lighthouse set, I made a few like this, because you know these are little pieces that normally you throw away, but they're brilliant for this. And the more you have, you know, the better it is. Let's just pop this here. So, and as long as the colours all go together, it doesn't have to be from just the same DSP pack. And sometimes what I've done before is I've used scraps of card that have maybe been embossed, and so I've got some more textured pieces in there as well. But it's a bit sort of like a jigsaw puzzle, except you don't know what the picture's going to be at the end. Ooh, it's sticking on my map. There we go. And you just keep laying them over until you know you're happy with what you've got there, and then you just choose another pattern. And you can trim as you're going along if you want to. I tend to wait till the end, unless I need a tiny piece, and then I'll tear a little bit off one of the overhanging pieces. But I tend to wait till the end. Yeah, embossed card scraps, Jane, they're great. Sometimes what I'll do as well is I'll put lots of little pieces of cut off cardstock into one of the embossing folders and do it that way. So if I don't have enough little pieces, it doesn't matter. I can just, you know, pop a few in and emboss it all together. Let's tear that piece off. And sometimes I'll even put little pieces of the metallic card that I have left. I'll pop those through an embossing folder and use just a couple of strips in it. That looks really pretty too. Okay, now I've only got a tiny weeny bit here, so I'm just going to tear a little piece off and stick it across. But that's probably much too big, but hey ho, we'll just pop that on there. Okay, and then I'm going to change the direction again, and let's move that round. And I'm going to put some more pieces up here, but they're not going to go across the whole of the card like this one did. Let's find another piece of that yellow. What's that on the back of? I like that. There we go. Oh, look, my little scrappy bit here is falling off, just because it's not quite dry. It'll dry in a few minutes. I'm sure lots of you have already made these kind of cards. But sometimes I think we just need to be reminded, you know, and we try and think, oh, what can I make this time? What can I make? And really, we've got all these things that we've made before. Just forget about them. And I don't do a pattern. Like on this herringbone one here, you can see that there's 2 of the pattern paper, then 2 of this paper, then 2 of this paper. I don't do that because I like to genuinely use up the scraps. And I think if you have to start and cut certain pieces and make sure you have a pattern, you don't always use your scraps up. You end up, you know, that you've only used a few little bits. Okay, let's see what we're going to have next. Oh, I like this one. What's on the back? Orange. I like that one, but I'm going to go with a little plainer one first. I think I'll put this back in. And then I'll put a flowery one in. And once you get going, you know, it builds up fairly quickly. I'm going to put one more across, and then I'm going to make more that go top to bottom. And where's that nice flowery one? Let's see if this is long enough. Yeah. So just keep putting more pieces on and building up your pattern. Okay, now I'm just going to take this off here. I know it's very sticky, but I would rather it was sticky on this silicone mat than anything else. Okay, now I'm going to move it round so I can do more that go this way. Okay, so I'm looking for one that I haven't used very much going down yet. On the back. Yeah, I've got lots of the same kind of pieces now, but that's okay. I'm going to cut this Just make sure, if you've torn a piece off like I do, just make sure that you then cut the edge straight again so that it fits in nice. Oh, didn't want it to stick on there. There we go. Just pop this down. I have to go over there with my glue eraser because it's a bit sticky there now. Okay, and let's put a bit more of that yellow in. See how much we need. Just about half of this. It's a bit bent and wonky, that piece, but that will be okay. Oh, no, I didn't want it that way, did I? Let's put that down. Let's do this piece. I want the yellow piece looking up at me, not the flowery piece. Orange polka dot. Okay, let me put that down. Let me do an orange polka dot. Cut the end. Yeah, because it'll go with those little ones there, won't it? Okay, let's pop that in. Oh, that end, I've not cut it quite straight. Just let me... There we go. Might not get many polka dot pieces in. I should have put some in earlier. I should have read the comments earlier. Now let's put this yellow one on. There we go. And let's see what we've got next. Let's put another piece of this in. We haven't got much of this. And then we just need a couple more pieces here, and I need a little piece for up at the top here. That's so tiny you probably wouldn't even see it, but I would like to fill it in because I know there's a little piece missing on there. Other people might not, but you know when you know it's not quite right, and then it would bother me. So, okay, and I need a little teeny weeny piece here. I could put another little piece of that polka dot in. Well, let's just cut this straight. Does that look straight? Yeah. I need a teeny bit. I'll pop that on there. Oops. Make sure it goes and just gives that same little gap between. I don't want it to be a bigger gap. Okay. Now you can see we didn't use many scraps, so you've got loads more pieces for the next card. And I'm just going to put the lid on this glue, and I'm going to put my sticky yellow piece over to the side, because I'll probably carry on crafting after we finish tonight. And I don't know which piece I'm going to put on the end there yet. Just going to have a look. Move these. Move my silicone mat, and when I clean these I tend to use just like hand sanitizer wipes, because I think this takes the glue off quite quick. But you could use like that hydrogen peroxide on a little cloth. You could put it in soap and water, but I want to be able to use this again in a few minutes, so I just go over it and take all the glue off with this. And then you can put this little wipe in a stamp box, and it'll stay wet enough for you to keep using it for you know, for a few times. Okay, so that's all my glue off there. I'll just pop it on one side to dry, and I'm just going to put this in a little box near my garbage. I'm not throwing it away yet because I'm going to wipe my scissors down with it as well. Okay, now where's that little piece that we needed? Just here. So it's going to be teeny tiny. I'll have a look when we've cut it. I'm going to use my, yeah, I could use a bigger gap between pieces, Laurie. And on here, they used a slightly bigger gap, but I like just the narrow gap. Now you can either cut this with your scissors, or you can put it in your paper trimmer. and cut it. If you're putting it in your paper trimmer, just make sure that it's fully dry, else you'll find that it sticks onto the blade and then you have a bit of a job getting all the sticky off. So just cut all these little pieces off. If you're making 2 or 3 at the same time, keep some of these little pieces for your little edges and ends. Okay. Now, it's taken me a little while to make it, but only because I was talking so much and showing you. You know, once you've made a couple of them, they're really fast to carry on making. Okay, now let's see, am I going to need a little piece on there? I don't know, but I'm going to put this little polka dotty piece. It's got a little tiny, I don't even know if you'll see this. You might do, but we might know it's there, but other people might not. But save all these little pieces ready for your next card. And some of them, you know, some of them are big enough that they would make a whole strip going across. Oh, look, it just dropped off then. Let's just try popping that on again. It might need a bit more glue. I don't know if it's going to stick there or not. Maybe just too tiny. Okay. And then I'm going to get that little wipe again and just go down my scissors, just because they are sticky. Now you can also do this with your like glue eraser. I often clean my scissors like this too. You just go across and all the adhesive comes off. Takes a couple of goes. There we are. Okay, I'll pop those on one side, and I'm just going to move these pieces over to the side as well. Okay, so now we need to get our card base. I'm going to use this piece that's 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. Just make sure, let's find a bone folder. Just make sure those edges are together. Here's the piece that we've, oh, what's this little bit sticking on? Little edge there. Here's the piece that we've made, and this is the little piece of the same colour evening evergreen. And remember I said I like it to look as though it has a tiny border around, so that when you put it on the card, you can see that border too. Just like that. But if you didn't want to have the border, you could certainly do all of your herringbone pieces on this bigger piece of card and then trim it down, and it will look like this one. But I just like having that extra little border. I'm going to attach it. I don't know yet what I'm doing about my ribbon. Let's see. Probably I would put my ribbon round this layer as well, so I'm going to attach this on. Where's my glue gone? Here it is. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Jane. Have you made these before? Just using up little bits and pieces? Okay. Now, this is going to go onto here. You could put it on a different colour card base as well, something that coordinates with here. And look, you can just see that little orange one dot. It sort of ties those bits in. Haha. Okay, now I brought my ribbons. I wasn't sure what I wanted to use. So I've got the evening evergreen like we used for the tags and tidings class. I've got my seam binding. I found the soft succulent ribbon and the evening evergreen in this. I don't have much in the way of yellows and oranges. Not that isn't retired anyway. So I'm going to pop that way, I think. Yeah. So I'm just going to see which looks best. I don't want it to look too dark. maybe I should organise what I'm going to do for my sentiment first. I've got my my pansy patch, and I've taken out this, I think it's from the Stitch So Sweetly dies, because I liked how this one sentiment fitted on it. So let's put it on a block. And I've got my Evening Evergreen ink. So if we sort out the sentiment, then I know whether I'm going to do a bow or a knot. Let's have a little look. Put this straight. Okay, I do like that font on there. I think that's pretty. What are you telling me, Laurie? Last ribbon. Oh, the last ribbon. Okay. Which was that? Was it this one? I don't know. I think it was this one. Oh, I think this one was first. So, okay. Now, I've got this here. And I might put it over to one side and have... Yeah, this is nice ribbon, isn't it? I might have a bow over here, or I might put that over there and have a bow over there. Let's see what we're going to do. Oh, I think I'm going to put the bow over this side. Let's find some better scissors. Find some ribbon scissors. And we'll make a bow over here, or might even just need a knot. Might just do a knot. Let me just cut this off. Oops. I've got seam binding stuck on my cardigan. There we go. How do you make those like square knots? Sometimes I seem to get them, and the whole knot goes square. You meant to do something like west over east and then north over south, or I don't know. Does anybody know what that is? I've forgotten. I'm just doing a knot. Oh. We were making shaker cards last night at class, and we have a virtual monthly class, and Laurie's part of it, and we were making shaker cards with all of these little sequins and things. And when I stood up and said goodnight to everybody, I knocked the whole box down. For the last hour, I've been trying to pick up little tiny weeny pieces of sequins and those little punch outs that's in the middle of a sequin. And I stood up. I thought I'd all finished and I'd vacuumed and everything. I stood up and I had 3 stuck on my toe. so I hope, Laurie, that yours didn't go all over. But it's glittery on my carpet right now. Glitter is pretty, but there's an awful lot of it in the vacuum as well. I tried picking some up, but it was so static. I just couldn't pick it up. Okay, now let's pop this one over here. And then I'm just going to add this to my card base. And I could use tear and tape, but I might just use my Stampin' seal. What is this? That little bit of fluff. Okay, so there we are. Now, for the inside, I've got some of the pansies that we cut out when I was making the gift card, and I've still got some of those, so that's what I'm going to put inside. I'm not going to put like the dark green layer and then another piece of white. I'm just going to pop a pansy in and some of the little leaves that we had cut out. I don't know, I've got 2 the same cut out. Oh yeah, I've got these green ones. So I'm just going to glue this in just to make the inside look pretty. Which way does that go? Yeah. We're going this way. I'll put another one there. Okay. So there we are. That's our first card. What time is it? Oh, we've got ages yet. Okay. So that's my first little herringbone. Simple, simple. Using pieces that you wouldn't just normally throw away. Now, I've cheated a little bit because I've already done my sticking. I haven't cut it, still a bit sticky because I made it just before we started the live. So I'm just going to cut this and I'm going to just make it slightly different. So let's cut this off. Oh, I'm glad you like that. Really, such an easy little technique. It's not easy the first time, but once you've made one and you think, oh, you know, there doesn't have to be a pattern and you can just cut and stick in whatever order you want. And once you're comfortable with that, then they're easy to make. I think the first one or two that I made, I was thinking, oh, you know, I've had this pattern, then this pattern, it should be this one next, and then I thought, no, that's not going to work. That's not using up scraps. That's, you know, that's been a bit too prescriptive for me. So once you're not too worried about which of the scraps goes next, it's better and it's easier. And you don't have to do a lot of extra bling. It's nice just to put a sentiment and a ribbon, or a sentiment and a couple of rhinestones or something. You don't need a lot else. And we've got such pretty paper. You know, you need to be able to use every little scrap of it that you can. Okay, so this is exactly the same size as the one we have here, and exactly the same technique. It will be a different pattern because I can't make two the same. And instead of the evening evergreen for the layer, I've used soft succulent, which is the other green in here. So just a little bit different colour. And I'm going to attach that the same as we did for this one. Turn it over and squash this down. There we are. Now, when I was looking through here to get the pieces that I wanted, I found that I had one more of those tags. And when we'd made that pocket card, it had the tag on the front. Let me just see where I put that. It's hiding somewhere on my desk. So remember when we made this one? I'd cut out two of these tags. So I just put the piece back in with the pansy patch pieces. And I thought we'd do this kind of thing for the front. So I liked how that tag looked. So I thought we'd put that, instead of having just the sentiment like this, I thought we'd make it like this too. So let's find our base card that we're going to use. I'm going to use white again. So this will go like this one, and then I'm not going to put ribbon around it because I want to have the ribbon on this little tag, and I'm just going to sort of place it like this. Sometimes you need to turn this round just until, you know, you're happy with the orientation of everything. So I'm going to stamp on here, but I'm going to use something from In Bloom. I had this out from last night because one of the cards I was going to use the sentiment, but it was a bit too wide, so it was already still on my table, and I'm going to use that long happy birthday one. I think it'll fit nice on the tag. So let's find a block. I will put the measurements up for you as well, so don't worry about you know, not knowing what sizings I'm using and everything. No, I'm not going to use black. I'm going to use that evening evergreen again. I think that stamps up so nicely. So the front of the card is all scraps, and then this was just a little scrap leftover piece as well. I haven't made anything special. Oh, I maybe should have put it a bit further down so I could get my pansy on, but never mind, we'll put a small pansy on it. Hi Judy, nice to see you. Don't apologise for being late, it's just nice that you're here now. We're making herringbone cards, and we've made the first one just like this, with just little 1/2-inch scraps of the pansy paper. And I'm making another one, but we're making it just slightly different. We had a scrap of this left from a couple of weeks ago when we made this card. I don't have one of those little green pieces, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not making one specially. I'm going to add this to the front of the card. Okay, let me see which way. I've forgotten which way I liked it. I liked it that way, but that pansy there, I felt like it should be going that way, so I'm going to put that way. Oh, I don't want it just there, it's not quite in the middle. Nope, off you come. There we go. Let's squash that down. And then let's look at that ribbon again. Same colour, Laurie? Same green? Or I've got the chevron green, or I've got the soft succulent. That's quite pale. This one's a bit darker. Oh, thank you, Judy. Laurie, my ribbon lady. Which one are we having? I like the darker greens, but I just need some white twine. Give me 1 second while I just pick that up. Okay, I'm back. Dark green, okay. The solid green, Laurie, or the sheer ribbon? Put the light green away. And I'm going to put the white seam binding away. So I know dark green, but are we having the solid one or the sheer one? Which would you like? I'm waiting for her to answer, so while I'm waiting, I'll choose a little pansy for on here. Okay, so we've got some little ones. I wonder if we've got an orange one that's already pre-cut. Got pink. These ones are too big. Got a few leaves. Jane says solid. Okay, Jane. So the one we used for our Christmas class. Okay, let's just cut a little bit. And where's my ribbon scissors? Here we go. So I'm going to pop this here as well, so we can see what we did. Oh, I poked it through, look. So poke it through like this. I don't want it too long. And I'm just going to angle the ends. Put it this way, I think, this time. And angle this end as well. Do I like it that way? No, I don't. I like it the other way. So I'm going to turn it over like that. There we go. And I'm just going to cut a little piece of the white twine just to tie around it. Janet, did you get all your Christmas cards finished? I know you said you still had some to do, and you were maybe going to do the like the design that we did last week. Did you get some more made? I must admit I haven't done much crafting at all. Back at school with the preschoolers is taking my last 2 brain cells, and I had class yesterday, and that's about the only crafting I've done apart from this. And I love our Facebook Lives because it really makes me get on and sort of design and make something fairly easy. Okay, now let's see. Let's see if those little pansies. Let's just do the yellow one. Oh, let me look at the paper. See if we had, which paper is it? Let's see. Not that one. Oh, I have a yellow one, but I think this is too big. Yeah, that's a bit too big, that one. Let's have a quick peep. Oh, a scrapbooking weekend. Oh, that sounds nice. Is that somewhere local? Oh, look at that little orange one there. Let's cut that one out. And then it will... Oh, I was thinking it would match the polka dot, but that's on the other card. Oh, I'm going to go with this yellow one now. Oh dear, I tell you. It's hard being with little ones, isn't it, Janet? They've taken all my intelligence, the tiny little bit that I had. Anyway, I'm going to just fussy cut these 2 little green ones. I'm going to leave a little edge around. Just quick fussy cutting, nothing fancy. There are dies that cut these little leaves out as well, but honestly it's so quick to do. By the time I've got the dies out, and got my bottom out of the chair and gone and found them, I could have these cut. And then we'll use that one as well. Let's pop these others off to one side, because we don't need those ones at the moment. And I'm going to put this on with a dimensional, I think, just so that it sticks up a bit. 2 2-year-olds. Oh wow. I'd need to be in a chair by the end of the day, I think, with 2-year-olds. They have unlimited energy. Okay, so that would fit there. And I'm actually going to put this on dimensionals as well. I'll just make sure that it's not going in the mail, because I know 2 rows of dimensionals will make it into the next mail-in bracket. So I'll just make sure I give this one by hand. Oh, do I like it that way, or do I like it that way? I'm going to put it that way. And then let's pop these leaves on. I'm going to just glue the edges of these. Pop these on. And these don't have to be all raised. You can stick them to the underneath of the poppy if you want to, but I'm just gonna pop them like this. So that some are a little bit higher than the other. There we go. Okay. So there's our second little herringbone card. Move all of these out of the way. So there's our first one, where we just did plain with a ribbon and our sentiment. And this one was with the little leftover tag. You could add little rhinestones and things as well. And then the other one that I showed you was the one for tomorrow. That's going to be on the YouTube. And I made it just the same way, except I made this much smaller. Now, I will put sizings and everything on the YouTube for you. But what I did with this was I made it smaller, and in the past when I've done that, I've embossed this backing layer, and that looks really pretty too, because it just gives a little bit more of a texture, and especially if you're just using monotone colours. Now, this one was the free paper from Celebration, and it's the hand-penned paper, but in the black and white. And the same with this, so it's exactly the same design look. Doesn't matter if you have it landscape or portrait, but I put just one little pop of colour. I put some of this polished pink ribbon on. And this layer was cut with the colour and contour dies. Let me just show you those. So it was these ones, the scalloped contour dies that go with the colour and contour stamp set. And I just used this second one in from the outside. I used that one. And I use that quite a lot for inside cards. So, like this. So it gives a really great size for, you know, your sentiment. And I just did a tiny little stamping piece. So those will be on the YouTube tomorrow. But I really hope you've enjoyed seeing those ones, and that you'll give it a go. They would be nice cards for craft shows, and I tell you what, Jane, they wouldn't cost you an awful lot, because these little tiny pieces that you're normally going to throw away, you know, not many people save tiny pieces like this. To be honest, I don't save everything, but if I know I'm going to make herringbone type cards, this is, you know, these are just the pieces you need. There's no point cutting up great big pieces of designer series paper. Use these little scraps. But they would be nice for craft shows as well. And they're just a little bit different. You know, there's not a lot of images that you've had to stamp. The paper does all the work. So there we are. I hope that you've enjoyed those. And I really love getting together with everybody for Facebook Live. This has been the easiest week because the phone worked, the computer worked. It said, you know, connecting, and there was no problems. So I don't know what I did differently today, but it worked. So give them a go. Post a picture if you do. I know Laurie always has a picture that she posts of everything that we make, and I love seeing what else you've made. So I'll see you all again next week. Have a great week. And don't forget, Celebration ends in a couple of days. If you wanted any of the free product and you have a demonstrator that you work with, it finishes on Thursday. Okay, ladies, thanks for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Night night, everybody. Bye. Bye, Laurie. Bye, Jane. Bye, Janet. Thanks.